Historian, doctor of history, doctor of economics, Webster Griffin Tarpley is going to join us to break down ClimateGate. There has never been a bigger scientific fraud except perhaps the Nazis and their theory of race supremacy. We cover that in my film, The Obama Deception and Fall of the Republic. Both of these films are absolutely timely and need to be seen by everyone. By the way, we have a deal going at Infowars.com on the online video bookstore shopping cart where you get a free T-shirt of your choice. We have a link there, a free T-shirt when you get the film, my newest film, Fall of the Republic, while supplies last, of those T-shirts. And I want you to make copies of the film, give it out to everybody you know. And again, I don't normally talk about how many people, the 3, 4, 5, 6,000 emails a day we get, the hundreds of letters a day we get, the hundreds of phone calls a day we get, that I can randomly say, hey, sounds like Muse, this rock band, are listeners. Let's call them. Oh, you're fans. We'll have you on the show. Sounds like Dave Mustaine has woke up to the New World Order. Megadeth. Get him on. Oh, my new album's named after your film Endgame. Oh, I'm a huge fan. You woke me up. I'm a Christian now. Oh, let's randomly call this person up. I mean, it's crazy that we've reached so many people now that it's just unbelievable. I mean, we're kicking the hind end of the global criminals. You need to discover how much power you've got and how ready people are to wake up now. Ready to wake up today, ready to hear the truth. Now is the time. Copenhagen Treaty, Obama's always a liar. Just like Schwarzenegger said he wouldn't sign that bill making you register to buy ammo, and he signed it a week later. I told you he would. Obama said a month ago he wasn't going to Copenhagen, so he wouldn't get a big protest for him. Then he lied and said, oh, now I'm going. I told you Obama was going. Just like I told you, They lied and said they wouldn't pass the government takeover of health care in the House. They passed it. They said they wouldn't pass, oh, don't worry, we're not going to pass the global carbon tax bill out of the House. They passed it. Now it's probably going to pass the Senate. They do that as a military tactic to tell you that you're winning so you'll stand down. I'm telling you we're winning, but we've got to get involved 10 times more and redouble our efforts to ensure we defeat these people. You know, I thought this week about playing Von Rompuy, the new head of the EU, and all these other global leaders, Ban Ki-moon of the UN, calling for global government. But what's the point? You've seen the front page of your paper call for world government, new world order. Every paper I know of has been repeating it every week the last 6 months. Again, they denied all this existed so they could build it. Now they're admitting they've built it, but saying it's for your own good. It's blowing up in their face because of all their previous lies. Very exciting things are happening right now. Now, on the subject of ClimateGate, if you don't know what it is, Webster Tarpley's going to break it down for you in the next 30 minutes after this quick break. But ClimateGate is, again, covered in my film Fall of the Republic. Even though this film came out 3 weeks before ClimateGate, I exposed their fake science, how it's a carbon tax to the private banks, how the banks want to destroy industrial societies, Maurice Strong's own quotes. And now, here is the London Telegraph. Climate change. This is the worst scientific scandal of our generation. And it says, our hopelessly compromised scientific establishment cannot be allowed to get away with the climate whitewash. Lord Monckton shut down the UN, arrest Al Gore. Lord Monckton, former science advisor to Mrs. Thatcher. Anti-climate cult crusader calls for world to rise up against communistic killers behind global warming fraud. He said on air, he quoted Eco-Science Friday that he's read. I said, what do you know about Eco-Science? Oh, their plan to exterminate the population? I mean, he's not the weirdo reporting that. The weirdos is the White House science czar that wrote it. Folks, we're living in the middle of a science fiction movie. This is so crazy what's going on. ClimateGate surpasses global warming on Google as the top search term of the last week. Number one search term, ClimateGate. The truth is getting out. The BBC refused to report on this. Until yesterday, and they decided to report on the investigation into who leaked the emails from the UN Climate Research Facility in Cambria, in England. FOIA requests and suits have been filed for more than a decade to get this info. These people are heroes. Taxpayer money paid for this. But I wanted to cover another subject now before we go to break on the ClimateGate situation. Do you have that clip about Dutch Roll Shell calls for global carbon tax? I keep getting emails and calls, and I see these disinformation articles written saying Alex Jones must work for the oil companies. Ladies and gentlemen, I work for the truth. I tell the truth no matter what is going on. We know the Earth has a warming and cooling cycle. We know the sun drives almost all of it. We know the sun was heating, now it's cooling. We know that Mars had shrinking ice caps. Now it has growing ice caps. Your SUV isn't making Mars get hotter. Moons of Saturn and Jupiter, same thing. But I keep getting calls saying, you work for ExxonMobil and Shell. Really? Have you seen the magazines? Half the ads in them, if they're not drug ads, are by ExxonMobil, Shell, and others calling for global carbon taxes. Here's Guardian. Exxon chief backs carbon tax. Saturday, January 10th, 2009. Give me a close shot for PrisonPlanet.tv viewers. Here's Bloomberg. Shell calls for global expansion of cap and trade CO2 programs. And I've got others. New York Times, Shell, cap and trade is a good thing. The oil companies wrote this. Let's play a TV ad by Dutch Royal Shell for it. The oil companies wrote this to shut down the coal companies. Here it is.
Working for a new energy future.
Climate change, energy, and economic recovery are a hugely complex issue, and it will take more than governments alone to solve the problem. Industry needs to provide expertise, and government needs to step up with solid regulatory frameworks that signal where we need to invest to provide good solutions.
Shell, encouraging dialogue on the energy challenge.
You know, these morons call me and email me and spam the web saying Alex Jones is working for the insurance companies. He's against the government takeover of health care. I can watch C-SPAN and watch the head lobbyist, the spokesman for the insurance companies for health care, saying they wrote the bill and saying if it doesn't have big enough penalties for people that don't get insurance, that they're going to be against the bill. That's why there's a $5,000 penalty and 5 years in jail. They take $5,000 out a year on average, 5 years in jail, $250,000 fine. Read the bill. They wrote it. The oil companies are owned by the big banks and insurance companies. They create the money. They want to shut down coal that's not a monopoly. 51% of our power in the West, more than that in Europe, comes from coal. If they shut coal down, then they've got to run it off normal oil. Folks, again, everything you've been told is backwards. Up is down, down is up, black is white, white is black. We say 2 + 2 = 4. They say 2 + 2 = 1,000,000. I do not work for the oil companies, ladies and gentlemen. I tell you the truth. We have the internal emails of the chief UN climate organization. It's all a fraud, and we shall not surrender. We shall be victorious, in the words of Muse. Yeah, we'll be right back on the other side of this quick break. Infowars.com. We're simulcasting on live video at PrisonPlanet.tv.